Alright, this is going to be a melee guide for Shroud of the Avatar, Forsaken Virtues. Um, this is this video will be geared towards or geared for friends and family that play the game with me, and so this will be a lot easier than explaining it all over again. Alright, so this is for melee DPS, primarily melee DPS. So if anyone is taking pole arms, blades, bludgeon, and to a certain extent, even though it's not really melee ranged, um, this gear or guide will be for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is stats. Right, the primary stats that melee DPS is going to need is strength, then dex, and then the features or items that we're also going to look on our gear will be crit rate or crit damage or base weapon damage. Now, why are we going to go for strength? Reason why we're going for strength, if we highlight that here on our paper doll, it determines the maximum health, carry capacity, physical damage, effects, and chance to parry or block an attack. So the physical damage is the reason why we are primarily going with strength. Reason why we're going with dex as well is because it determines the chance to hit and the chance to land a critical hit with a physical attack. So the crit chance for melee DPS is huge. It is a big game changer. A lot of people like to increase the base damage by increasing their strength, like I have gone through, but in all truth, 72 dex is pretty low. Okay, my strength right now, fully buffed up, is at 462, but my chance to land a critical hit is pretty low right now, and I'll show you guys shortly here in another video. But okay, let's move along. Priority based DPS. Priority based DPS is what I'll be showing or giving you guys a tutorial on. Okay, it will help you a lot, only because when you DPS as melee, you'll be moving around a lot, right? So what it basically is a priority to cast certain spells. So first and foremost priority to cast will always be your buffs. Okay. I have seen a lot of DPS people try to DPS or do damage, and they could have done a lot more damage if they didn't let their buffs fall off, or if they didn't let certain spells fall off. Okay, so the number one priority to keep up at all times is buffs, are going to be the buffs. So for me, it'll be basically inner strength and berserker stance, followed by our damage spells. So the primary damage spell or skill that I have is puncture. Then depending on if it's 1 or 2 targets, then it'll be skewer. If it's 3 or more targets, it'll be spinning attack. Okay, so say for example we're attacking a boss. My primary source of damage is going to come from puncture, followed by skewer, then spinning attack, and then stone fist, stone arrow, and leg sweep are going to be my filler spells. Okay, what are filler spells? Filler spells are what you're going to cast, and I'll go through a little sequence here. Like I said, priority is always going to be my buffs. I'm going to 6 stack. Okay. Now, when all of these they have a timer, and I'll just force this out. Now I'm going to cast my filler. Do that, cast my filler. Berserker stance is coming up. Cast spinning attack. Spinning attack is up. Puncture is up, so I'm going to drop that. Go to my puncture first. Then skewer. Then I'm gonna put this in, and that's gonna come up. Then I'm gonna go to spinning attack. If you notice, I am prioritizing my buffs and my puncture first and foremost. Okay. Now that's said and that's it. Now I'm hitting my fillers. Okay. Spinning attack until puncture is up. Then I'm casting skewer. Then I'm casting spinning attack. Okay. Once inner strength is up, I'm six stacking this and then putting that up. Puncture is up, so I'm going with puncture. Okay. That in a nutshell is how the priority system looks. So let's break it down. Consistent damage. Okay, consistent damage is the key. Okay, my primary skills for polearm that I use for damage is puncture because it has a damage over time. Followed by skewer because skewer is my primary source of burst damage if it's one target or one to two targets. Um, then followed by spin attack. Okay, spin attack is nice because it also has a chance to add another dot. Take a look. Puncture's dot is still up. Okay. Now people are going to ask, why don't I just put it through an open deck and cast puncture each time it's up? Because if we take a look at it, okay, and let's clear this up first. If we look at it, puncture, one cast of puncture will not equate to a six stack of puncture, obviously. However, people will argue that on a priority based system, it's easier to just cast it since you're moving frequently anyway. Um, that's where I kind of disagree. Mainly because if you're chasing and you're stacking, you should be able to constantly land your auto attacks. If you have a damage meter, you will notice that if you are casting or using swords or pole arms and to a large degree ranged, auto attack chances are is your second source of damage, or the amount of damage that you cast is auto attack. Um, first damage, number one damage should be your primary source of damage. For me, it was puncture. If it was swords, it would be rend. If it was ranged, if you are using a fighting a boss, it will be aimed shot, followed by auto attack. If you are after auto attack, then it should become either for puncture for pole arms, it should be skewer if it's one target. Okay. Sometimes if you're lucky with the procs, it'll be spin attack. Okay. If you have a lot of dots from spin attack will actually beat out skewer, but the burst damage from skewer will be significantly higher than spin attack if you're specialized in it like I am. Blades, coup de grace, will be your biggest source of burst damage, and what if you play World of Warcraft is what we call an execute. But rend is going to predominantly be your number one source of damage, followed by your auto attack, and followed by either thrust or double slash. So, with that being said, we'll go through this one more time. So, we need consistent damage is key. Auto attack is generally slept on by most people, but when you actually use a damage meter and you are doing a significant amount of damage and maximizing your damage, you'll notice that auto attack is generally up there. Either most of the time it's the second second source of damage that you do that is up there. Your primary source of damage for pole arms should come from puncture. Swords, it should come from rend. if you're fighting one target. Right. Fillers are only used when cooldowns, when your primary, secondary, and alternate skills are on cooldowns along with your buffs. So let's try this one more time. Okay. Like that. Puncture. Cut the spinning attack so I can actually cast my buffs. Then going straight into puncture. Then going straight into skewer. Going straight into spin attack. As soon as it's done, I'm going through that only because that's up. Then I'm going to hit that, followed by a puncture. Now, this looks simple enough, but it is a little bit challenging when you're chasing something all over game's creation. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll be signing off. Have fun. Stay safe.